Are you having trouble with the IELTS writing section? Well, I'm here to help. In this interview, I will ask an IELTS examiner with over 10 years of experience who has marked thousands of essays on how to get those high band scores. To watch the full interview, click the bubble at the top of the screen, or tune in to our YouTube channel each week for a new episode. Now watch and learn. One other question that we often get from students is, how many words should I write for a high band essay? Of course, as we know and as the instructions say, write a minimum of 250 words, but there is no maximum limit. And of course, in the paper-based version of the test, the candidates are limited by the amount of space they have on the paper, but on the computer-based version of the exam, there truly is no limit. Only the time, the 40 minutes, or the time for the writing section. So, in your experience, in your opinion, what is kind of the ideal word count for those higher band essays?
Just one point, if I could. They are not actually limited in the amount of paper they can use. If they need more paper, they can actually ask. I've seen 3 pages stapled together for a task too, because the person wrote rather large, or they used double spacing. So there is no limit actually on the paper.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. So take note, viewers, that if you're in the paper-based exam and you feel like you need to write more, you do have that opportunity. Thank you for that insight, Adam.
And now to get back to your question, again, this is the most common question I get too. And it comes back to that template style. If you're using a lot of memorized expressions, but you're not really saying anything to support your idea, then it's going to need to be a lot longer. It's almost like, how do you exercise? Like if you're walking, well, you have to do that for longer. You need more time. It's the same with writing. If you're a very concise writer, you could get a band 8 with around 300 words if you're very concise and you choose your words carefully, because that's also a skill. And then I get some people say, well, should I write 400 words? And I try to tell them, well, it's more quality rather than quantity. What can happen too when the quantity is too large, you might be repeating yourself and hurting your coherence and cohesion. You're saying the same points again and again, slightly different, but it becomes a bit of a bit hard for the reader to follow. And the feeling of the reader is, well, you already said this, when it's actually better to be more concise. I will say generally, when people don't use the same words or arguments again and again, I've found that between 300, 350 words is often what people use to get a band 8. Not for sure, it depends on the quality, but yeah, sorry for the long answer, but it is hard to answer this question with just a simple number.
Right, and I've had the same challenge as well, Adam, answering this question, and I've always given very similar advice as you. I think the key word that we're emphasizing here is concise. So good university writing, good writing in the IELTS exam is concise writing. It's writing that avoids repetition and redundancy, or what we call wordiness as well. And I agree that the way most of these IELTS Task 2 questions are designed is in such a way that in about 300, maybe 350 words, the candidate can express several different ideas in a concise way to make their arguments, and that is roughly it. I found it interesting that you said 300, maybe a little bit more, and you didn't actually say 250, which is the absolute minimum. And the reason I find that interesting is because that's what I have also said to students, is that it's quite difficult to get into those higher band scores with just the bare minimum of 250 words. 250 words is a little bit, I would say, few to really give clear answers, explanations, examples to ideas presented in the thesis statement. Would you agree with that?
100%. And it's actually a bit too few to show that you have a range of vocabulary and cohesive devices to get that Band-Aid score, right? Like it's, if you have a small sample size, you know what I mean? Like it might be too small to really illustrate that you do have a good range of ideas for task achievement or connectors for coherence and cohesion, you know, so it absolutely does affect that. And just to follow off the previous question a little bit, I try to never say like, listen, you know, when I tell my students, like, listen, if you have in your body paragraphs, if you have a topic sentence, don't aim for words. Never count your words when you're doing, you know, when you're doing your writing. If you have a good topic sentence, 3 good points and 3 supporting, you know, examples for those points for each body paragraph, there is no way you're going to be below the word count. You're just naturally going to be in that 300 to 350 range. Focus on how many points you're making, not how many words you're writing.
Absolutely. I couldn't have put it better myself, Adam. Definitely getting lost in the technical elements of the essay, like having 100% accurate spelling and grammar and having the exact word count, 300, let's say, for example, is really not the right approach to those higher band essays. It's much more important to take a look at what you mentioned, having the right ideas, having a cohesive essay. Absolutely. So Adam, some students fear that if they don't write 250 words, they'll lose some marks. And some students also fear that if they go over 250 words, they'll lose some marks. What, in fact, is the truth to this as an examiner or as a former examiner?
It's a myth. I stopped doing examining almost a year and a half ago, and it might even be 3 years ago when IELTS changed this. There's no longer a -1 penalty for writing fewer than 250 words. They do still suggest that in the prompts, but they actually changed it. And if I had to guess the logic for this, it only makes sense to me because if you're able to be succinct and write like a really good essay in 250 or 249 words, let's say, you shouldn't be penalized. On the flip side, how can you fully develop a topic and an idea with fewer than 250 words? So they don't need to have that penalty for word count. It just naturally negatively affects your task achievement and your lexical resource if you do write fewer than 250 words. But the -1 penalty right away, no, that's been done away with for at least 2 years.
Well, thank you for clearing up that point. I'm sure that's very helpful for many students out there and encouraging.
For many more great IELTS videos, as well as original practice exams, a fully interactive course, and an app for your mobile, check out aehelp.com. Begin learning for success today. Subscribe to our channel. Click over here. Watch another video. Click right up here. And click our IELTS Hero to join our premium package and get access to all of our videos, practice exams, and a fully interactive course.